So howdy, I'm Jerry Snider with All In Health and Wellness, and also own Lunar Juice Bar here in Waco. Here with Chris Hoke with Social Media Cowboys, and wanted to just touch on COVID-19, the coronavirus. I've had people ask me what are my take on it, and really, my biggest thing, which has been from the get-go, is your overall health. And so what can you do to boost your immunity so that no matter what you're hearing from and what you're believing from the media or social media or doctors that you're like, wherever you're getting your information on it, because there's more than two sides to what's going on, at least that I'm hearing and seeing. And so what I can tell you is with every virus, whether you believe it's an actual virus or not, because I've seen people posting like, do you actually know anybody that's sick in your area? I'm like, well, we have 330-something million people in this country, and there's, 20,000 or however many there is now. What? Diagnosis is like, of course you're not going to know somebody.
I also don't know any. I personally don't know any world famous, actors, but I know that they're there.
Right. Exactly. So it's like, okay, I don't think that anybody has it convoluted enough to create the mass information overload that's out there about this if it's not real. But whether you think it's real or not, boosting your immunity is something that's going to help you no matter what's out there. And so that's what I'm trying to help people do, is boost their immunity. But as far as what this virus is doing and how can we attack it and how can we do things, there is validity to social distancing. I read an article from, I'll pull it up here, get his name. It was posted a few days ago, and it's by this biophysicist Michael Levitt. He's a Nobel laureate, Stanford professor, and if you Google him, you'll find this information, you'll find his stuff. But he's been studying what happened in China, he's been studying what happened in Israel, he studied what happened on the cruise ship, and the social distancing piece works because, say you have 200 people in your daily or weekly circle that you interact with in person. Because obviously this is an in-person situation. Mm-hmm. Well, if you have 4 people in your household, like I do, then you have the potential for 800 people to be touched from those 4 people.
Wow.
So if one person out of those 800 people is got a virus, whether it's COVID-19 or whatever, mm-hmm. the flu or common cold or whatever, one of those people, then you're susceptible to being exposed to it. So it's not just, the small little people in my circle, but who are the people in your circle now?
Right.
And we haven't seen each other in a few weeks in person. Right. And so now it's like, okay, who are the people in each of our circles that we've now touched? And so it's not just, well, I don't know anybody. Well, but who do you know that knows somebody that you know? And so that's where, to go back to Kevin Bacon's 7 degrees of separation, like,
sure,
you're connected to somebody that has it within 14 days. If we go about business as normal. And that's why it's spreading so fast in so many countries, because they did not do social distancing fast enough or in concentrated areas. And one of the pieces that I read about was the...
Can I ask one question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I want to bring the layman's approach to this.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm going to ask the silly, dumb questions. But did social distancing, the term social distancing exist up until like a few days ago? Because I swear to God, I never heard it in my life.
I don't think it did, and I think it basically was somebody's. It's the PC way of saying be an introvert.
Well, yeah. Well, it's you'll know throughout, especially if you're a news junkie. I mean, Fox News is on this TV over here, and you stay. I know you keep up with stuff just because you're always,
Yeah.
So we're both news junkies, maybe different media outlets, but both news junkies. But there's like certain phraseologies that pick up in the lexicon that literally didn't exist. Like I remember fake news really was not a term you used until the 2016 election.
Right.
And then like alt-right was another
Yep.
term that was never heard until the 2016 election. Now it's like normal nomenclature.
Right.
But it did exist. So I think it's funny. Like, do they have these? Are these names talked about amongst these infectious disease guys? And then now we just hear them.
I don't know if these are all things that they that they talk about behind closed doors, and it just doesn't come out until it's like somebody says it in a press conference and goes, well, what's that? And then all of a sudden that's the buzzword.
Yeah. Fake news. We called fake news sponsored content before the 2016 election. Right. Sponsored content. I mean, I even get a talk on sponsored content one time.
Yeah.
But it being fake news. That's a really dumb question. It's not going to keep anybody healthy. No, but I guess the larger point I'm trying to make is, it seems like a superficial question, but there is a larger point to be made. Is like, these things seem to be at the ready.
Right.
So somebody somewhere has some plans.
Right.
Why don't these plans get acted before it gets this out of hand? You see what I'm following?
No, yeah. And I think part of that is with this specific virus being a 14-day period before symptoms show up, and I don't. That's one thing I can't speak to as far as when they figured out that it was a 14-day incubation period or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And so did they not figure that out until it was too late?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't spent my time researching that piece of it.
Yeah, you're kind of in the now.
I'm in like what can we do right now?
Yeah.
But that's why everything's being shut down, and I am being affected because I do own a restaurant here in town, and just literally a few minutes ago, they said our restaurant's going to be shut down as far as people dining in. We can still deliver and that kind of thing, but so it's. And that is to cut down the circle of people that you connect with.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we saw, in some of the stats are getting overblown, and so you have to read through and really understand what's going on, because there's. My sister was talking to me about Italy and all of this, and then she says, "Oh, what happened in Washington State?" And I was like, "Well, what happened in Washington State was that they've had a lot of deaths, and they've had a high mortality rate from the people that have caught it."
Yeah.
They caught it. There was a nursing home that caught it and spread it throughout the nursing home, and the majority of the deaths in that state to date have been people in that nursing home that were, and I may be wrong, but I want to say they were 85 and above as far as age, and we know that that's going to skew the numbers.
Yeah.
And with that 14-day, it's like, well, if one of them got it. And with the cruise ship issue, one of the things that Dr. Levitt talks about is the cruise ship, why there was such a high infection rate, was because they're all in the same ventilation system. Yeah. They're all in the same dining room. They're in such close quarters. Yeah. And so the fear I get is, at least from the officials, from the city officials and those things, the fear is cutting back on, people being in the same place so that you can spread it, because especially when it comes to restaurants, especially when it comes to places where you're going to be in a place where you don't know those people in your circle. They're not people in your circle. Right. Then that's going to be a problem. And so, because then you're spreading between circles. So if you stay within your circle and nobody in your circle gets sick, you're going to be fine. Yeah. And so one of the things that we've done as a family is, we've told my wife's parents and her two grandmothers their grandmothers are 89 and 96 or something like that. Like, sorry, we can't come see you. Like, we're not going to bring the kids down there. The kids are out of school. My wife's parents said, hey, we'll take the kids because I know y'all have to work and and it's hard to do that. And my mother-in-law is a retired teacher, so we're like, that's like huge, because homeschooling for us is not fun. Right. But that expands the circle. Right. And so we've decided we're not doing that. We're going to hunker, and so it's and this is one of the pieces where the way I look at it, that I'm not fearful for myself, even though I have had 2 lung surgeries, and so my wife is like, respiratory issues, that could be a problem for you. I'm like, I'm not worried about that because I've done a lot more since those that I know my lungs are strong. And
Yeah.
but if I get the virus, it's highly likely I'll never know it.
Really?
Because I'm so healthy. It's highly likely I'll flush it out of my system.
Yeah.
But who am I giving it to in that time period that I've got it?
Yeah.
And so that's what concerns me. Is more not am I going to get sick, but who am I going to give it to?
Okay.
Which is the same thing with, the flu, and I had a doctor who explained that basically to me as well, and he said, you're healthy, you don't need the flu shot for you. You need it for who you may pass the flu on to.
Yeah, and that's the situation in our house with Trish being literally 17 days post-op for a liver transplant. Me and Jude have to be extra hand washy and extra clean for her because she can't, fight all this stuff, know, and when people want to come see her and stuff, it's almost. You ever watch The Walking Dead?
No, I never have.
Okay, in the show The Walking Dead, when they would allow new people into their clan or group or whatever, they would always ask them 3 questions. And they would run down these 3 questions. Have you ever killed a person? You ever killed a zombie? Whatever. Or how many people have you killed? Something like that. And they would have to answer these questions before they live in their group. Yeah. So it's almost the same thing now with Trish. Like, have you had a fever? Have you been around anybody that's sick?
Yeah, exactly.
And you have to run through those questions.
Yeah.
So to wrap this up, because we wanted to make this quick and digestible. Right. We talked about some of your thoughts on it. Give me a what is, besides hand washing and besides social distancing, what's the next best thing for an average Joe person to do to stay healthy? If you had to give them, if you had me in the elevator and you had that long to tell me something to do, what would you do?
Hydrate, because the higher your water content is in your body, the more hydrated you are, the better your body works. Okay. We talked about this when Trish was going through all of her liver things. Yeah. If you're hydrated, your body's going to filter through things quicker and easily. So you want to make sure you're peeing clear. And quite honestly, you cannot overhydrate. So just drink like a ton. Chug. And nutrients, and that's one of the things we do with our juice bar is we have natural cold pressed juices. They're all fresh, and the nutrients in there are going to build your cells, and so it's. And I've been putting out tips on Facebook about immunity, and the one I did today is your cell walls and free radicals. So you want to make sure you don't have any free radicals in your system. So it's the processed sugars, anything that's gonna we all know what causes heart disease and all those things, and that's from free radicals getting clogged up in your system. Mm-hmm. So if you're hydrating and you're keeping the free radicals out, you have a much better chance of, if you catch the virus, flushing it out before it can snack on and do some damage to you. Okay.
All right. So social distancing, hand washing, hydration, nutrients. Yep. That's the main things.
Yeah. And I mean, the other one would be sleep. I mean, it's because stress, and the stress that we're all under, you can see it. If you go to the grocery store, you see it.
This is the most.
Everybody is under stress.
This is post 9/11 was weird, and everybody was walking around in a daze. Right. And this is the closest we've been since 9/11.
No, I definitely had that thought the other day that this was very close to this is my kids' 9/11. They're 8 and 10. In a way, and I think they're going to understand it a little bit. The difference is with 9/11 we knew the enemy, we could see the enemy. Yeah. Granted, we were fearful of who the enemy was when in our circles, but we could see it. Right. And this is one of those that you can't see it until when you see it, it's almost like not too late from a standpoint of I don't think everybody that gets it's going to die or anything like that. Yeah. I'm not trying to make a fearful cause that. Because honestly, the vast majority of people that get it are going to be fine. Yeah. And I think the vast majority of people that are going to get it are going to have no clue they have it.
Well, and we to stress the point, and this can't be overstressed. This is the last point I'll make. Is the reason why we're going through all this, and the reason why we're social distancing and quarantining and shutting down bars and stuff, is because the medical system can't take that many, basically, people need hospital beds.
Right.
And if we do, the whole system will crash.
Right.
And then, like Trish, who's going to have to go for her post-op
right.
things, she won't get the care that she needs because they're so
right.
busy dealing with a
yeah.
spread. So that it's not
so much this specific disease that's the issue with the healthcare system. Yeah. It's adding this into what we've already got.
Right, and it just can't handle it.
Right.
So if you look at it as just what the coronavirus itself does, you'd be like, we're overreacting. But if you take into account how many people would need hospitalization from it, if it was got out of hand, add it with what we have, you just crash the entire system. And listen to our next podcast.
Right.
We'll go into more detail about the medical system, I feel, when Trish's liver thing. So
exactly.
Some of these thoughts will be continued in the next one. And this podcast is not only on Jerry's, it'll also be on the Social Media Cowboys one. So it'll be on the
Confidence Through Health. Yep.
Confidence Through Health podcast, and the same exact content will be on the Social Media Cowboys. So this episode and the next episode will be on both. And so I feel that we'll be talking about some of these same topics.
Yeah, I think they do sort of intertwine a little bit how the healthcare system works, and and what people. I think what you just went through will help people. What do I expect if I do get sick?
Yeah, and I'll save this mostly for the next one, but I'll just preview it here. Trish was hung up at the hospital more than once because she had to wait for a bed. She was ready to move. She was stable.
Yeah.
They needed an actual physical bed to stick her in, and a room to stick her in. Yeah. So there is real concern here about the logistics, and they're trying to prevent a logistical nightmare.
Exactly.
Is why we're going through all this.
Exactly.
And I've been through tough times. I was raised super poor as a teenager. We didn't have nothing, and I went through. I changed careers right in the middle of the Great Recession of 08, 09.
Yeah.
And knock on something. I ain't got wood handy. But every time I look back on those crisis points, I always am thankful for some silver lining thing happens, and I end up better for it.
Right.
So I don't know what it is because we're in the moment.
Yeah.
But 2 years from now, 3 years from now, I'll look back and like, man, we were so lucky because ABC happened.
Right.
And if you keep that mindset, the mental aspect, it may suck in the here and now some of the things we have to go through. I mean, I might have to call the landlady and say, hey, man, can you take X instead of Y this month?
Exactly.
And you know what? And here's the thing, a revelation I came to yesterday, me and Trish talked about it. You're not alone in this boat. If you end up in the financial straits, talk to other people.
Right.
Because guess what? They're in them too.
Yep.
And they might say, hey, I'd rather, instead of getting no money, I'll work with you on this deal.
Right. Exactly.
So don't be scared to ask. So many times we get scared to ask. And stop that.
Yep.
Anyway, final thoughts?
Just that, it don't be, with the stress level, don't be so fearful that you get into this, the world is falling, the sky's falling, everything's going to fall apart. And, it is going to be a little bit different for, who knows how long. It's not going to be forever. And the thing, though, that scared people, and I think pushed the overreaction button is, and I kept telling my wife, I'm like, the grocery store's distribution system didn't stop.
No.
The issue was not that the grocery stores all of a sudden didn't have anything, and oh my gosh, now everything's falling apart because the grocery stores didn't have toilet paper. No, it's because we bought more than they were expecting. And that's an indicator of what could happen with the healthcare system. Yeah. Is that if we all wind up in the hospital at the same time, there's not going to be enough toilet paper for everybody.
Right.
So, and we all know how hospital toilet paper is. So, just saying, you don't want to go there.
You don't want to go there, man.
You don't want to go there.
I got some stories for you on that thing, man. With her being in the hospital as long as she was, I've got some stories. You don't want to be at the mercy of a hospital shower, of a hospital toilet paper, of a lot of things. Yep. You don't want to be at the mercy of the hospital. All right.
So, just stay calm. That'll help a lot with your health. Just stay calm.
Yeah. It's just a period of time.
Yep.
Hunker down.
Yep.
Tough it out.
Exactly.
Don't do anything rash. Don't empty all the cash out of your 401k.
Exactly.
Don't do stuff that you're going to regret. Don't max out the credit card buying 9mm ammunition and stuff like that. Just slow and steady wins the race, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Try and keep it as normal as possible.
Right. All right. Confidence through health.
Yep.
Give them the websites for your ventures.
allinhealthandwellness.com and lunajuicebar.com. We can deliver as far as our juices and things, and we also have gift certificates. That'd be a great way to help us or any small business in the area or your area, is to help them out by buying gift certificates you can use later on.
All right, and Chris Oaks, Social Media Cowboys, socialmediacowboys.com. Do online marketing, you'll figure it out. Go to the website. All right, see you guys.
Thanks.